Welcome to another edition of Scott on Security. My name's Scott Beck, co-host of the Amazon Prime documentary Cybercrime, and best-selling author and CEO of BeckTech, a cybersecurity firm located in Canada. And yesterday I told you I was going to let you in on a dirty little secret of the IT industry. And actually, I'm going to let you in on two dirty little secrets. So, as we all know, most businesses, the majority of businesses, now rely on some form of technology in order to operate. If we don't have that technology, if we don't have access to that data, we can't work. Yet, the IT industry isn't regulated. That's right. Anybody can open up a shop, throw out a sign, say, hey, I'm an IT guy. Hey, I'm a cybersecurity guy. And go into business. There is no checks. There is no balances. So it's up to business professionals and companies to do their homework to see who they're adding onto their team that's going to be assist them in furthering their goals and to protecting them from cyber criminals. So you say, Scott, how is that possible? And how am I supposed to know who to pick? How do I know that the people that we're working with are credible? Well, a couple of tips for that. Take a look around at your industry, or not your industry, but your market. And what's the average price? If you're outsourcing to companies, what's the average price range that's happening? You know, if it's $100 an hour, let's just say for sake of argument, and the guy you're talking to is charging $20 an hour or $25 an hour, that could be a pretty good indication that maybe this guy's working out of the trunk of his car, doesn't have a team behind him, maybe is a great computer repair guy. Maybe, who knows? Don't know. But chances are he's not that same level of professionalism and background and expertise as those $100 an hour guys. Makes good common sense. The other thing that happens in our industry is often some of these companies that start up, they're either guys that work in IT departments full time at big companies that are doing some moonlighting to make a little bit extra money. And the problem there is they may not be available when you're actually having a problem or you're suffering from a cyber event. Can you imagine picking up the phone? Hey, I'm on fire over here. You know, my data's all been locked. We can't work. We're down. And then you get a response of, well, you know, I'll get to it this evening. Probably not what you're looking for when it comes to IT support. So those are just kind of off the top of my head. I could go on for quite some time. Luckily, I know a lot of great IT people. I know many of them that are client focused, looking to try to help. Oh, I lost my lights. Interesting. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more intimate with the lights out. But they're trying to do their best to help their clients, generally speaking. The huge issue that I'm seeing right now, that the industry is seeing, is that the cyber criminals have figured out that we IT service providers, and a term that's often used is managed service provider, that we have the keys of the kingdom to our clients. Meaning, if they can hack us, they can get into all of our clients. And we're seeing this happening more and more. And why am I bringing this up? I mean, people don't want to talk about this. A lot of people on the channel or in my industry are like, well, we don't want to be talking about this. We could be minimalizing ourselves amongst the client base. We could be getting a bad eye out of this. I think we should be going the other direction. We should be saying, hey, folks, look, this is the problem. The bad guys, we've been preaching about it for a while. They're smart. And they're smart enough to have figured out that they can shortcut ways to impacting a larger number of people by going through the IT service provider. So it's up to us IT service providers to then up our game to be able to help protect our clients against and not be the liability that lets them in. And you're saying, this can't really be true, Scott. This has got to be far-fetched. Well, listen, just before Christmas, and I'm going to not say the names of the companies so we can save them a little bit of a hassle. And in this case, this happened like just before Christmas Eve. They got hacked through a phishing email, which is kind of ironic because apparently 2 days earlier, they'd sent out an email to their clients and prospects saying, hey, don't fall for a phishing email. And somebody within their company did fall for a phishing email, which let the bad guys in and ended up impacting 11,000 of their clients. If I was reading all the reports right, 11,000 companies across North America and some internationally got impacted and got ransomware and got hit because the bad guys were able to get into the service provider, then use their tool set to send out the viruses. I'm aware of another incident where somebody that specialized in the dental practices, they help dentists, they got hacked, and again, their tool set was used to ransomware over 200 dental clinics across the United States. Can you imagine being a dentist and showing up at your office and finding out, hey, I don't have access to my stuff. What's going on? And then finding out, of course, that it was actually your IT service provider. And I feel really bad for this company because now there's trade magazines in the dentistry industry that are talking about, hey, service provider let this all happen. I mean, they're basically done. I can't see how they could survive that now that the information's out that they weren't taking care of their own house, that they were the weak point that let the bad guys in to their clients. In Texas, you might have heard this because it made it CNN. There was like 20 different Texas government agencies that were impacted by cybercrime ransomware. And when it all traced back, the only common links that they could find was the IT service provider. Now, it's possible maybe it wasn't. We don't know that for sure. It's still under investigation. But it does seem kind of suspicious that 20 departments all get hit, and they were all using the same outsourced IT department. Scott, why are you talking about your industry this way? Why are things so bad? Because if we don't, people are going to start losing faith in what we're able to do. So, say, Scott, all right, great. You told us about the problem. What are they doing? Well, nothing's perfect. Let's be right up front about that, okay? All we can do, the whole point of cybersecurity and the putting things in place is to minimize risks. If the bad guys are willing to spend enough time, energy, and money, they're coming in. It's the bottom line. I mean, if NASA can spend $50 million a year on cybersecurity and they still got hacked, we businesses that don't have that kind of budget, we got to be focused on minimizing risks and recoverability. So, yes, we want to try to keep the bad guys out. We want to be able to try to detect if they've gotten in. And we need to have steps in place and organize in place to be able to recover, so to minimize those damages. So, things that should be in place, like two-factor authentication. We're always telling our clients, anything that's important, you should have two-factor authentication. What does that mean? It means if you're logging into a system, especially a cloud-based, so let's say banking, you would put in your username, you'd put in your password, and then a code would be sent to your phone, or you'd have an authenticator app on your phone that you would then have to put the information in order to get in. The chances of a hacker having both your password and have access to your phone, not impossible, but way minimal. Really shortens that distance. On top of two-factor, you need to have these multiple layers of protection. So if your IT guy's telling you, hey, we got antivirus on there, you're good, run. You're in trouble. You're in big, big trouble. You need to be having a firewall to try to keep people out. And not just a firewall, people will use these terms, but a next generation, one that's got some content filtering, intrusion detection and prevention. It's basically a little security in a box. That should be like your stopgap first measure of trying to get in. Then you have to have your endpoint security. Like antivirus, but better than antivirus. It should be behavior-based. Now, what happens if the bad guys get through that? Law enforcement is telling us that it can be up to 200 days when the bad guys get in before they're detected or before they launch a major attack and they're discovered. You got to get that 200 days down shorter. You need to be running something like breach detection that's looking at new software, new things that are happening on your network, and reporting on it so you can get those 200 days shortened down to minutes or hours to minimize the risk. And your IT provider should be also having some policies and procedures in place and be able to talk to you about them. What happens? So we detect a ransomware. What's going to be happening? How do you get recovered? What does that look like? Do they carry third-party cyber insurance themselves? You know, we're talking all the time about you should have cyber insurance. Do they have it? You know, unfortunately, like many trade industries, you know, there was an old saying that the plumber's plumbing at home gets fixed last because they're always busy out in the field. Well, in the IT industry, it can be kind of like that, too. Sometimes IT providers can be so busy out helping others that maybe they haven't taken care of their own home core. So you got to ask questions like, what are you guys doing to secure your company? How are you making sure that bad guys can't use your systems against us? And they should be able to talk through that. They should know that this is a real thing. If they say that will never happen, warning sign, okay? It is a thing. You got to know about it. And you got to be able to show that you're taking steps to protect against it. Yeah, okay, we do have these tools, but they're all two-factor authenticated. Great. We do have firewalls. We do have advanced endpoint security. We do have breach detection. We do have policies in place. We do have staff training. We do have email protection. It might sound like a lot, okay? I get it. If you're not an IT person, this can sound overwhelming, but really it's not. It's simple stuff to be in there. And if you're working with a real professional, they'll be able to guide you through this and make sure this stuff's in there. And they need to be able to show you why they're a professional company, why or how, maybe that's a better term, how they're protecting themselves so that they're also protecting you. Okay, I could go on. And we're already over my hopeful goal. And I lost my lights. We've been doing this in the dark. So go figure. So again, I've really had fun this week doing Security with Scott. Looking next week, we're going to be talking about ransomware. If you're not sure what it is, it's going to be very important to see. If you do know what it is, there's some really weird stuff happening with ransomware that you need to be aware of. So we're going to make you aware of it and bring you some attention so that you can adjust accordingly on how to do that. And if you've got some questions, hey, please feel free. Send me a direct message. Put a note down here in the bottom. Maybe you got an idea for an episode, or like, Scott, I've always wondered about X. Can you talk about this? Well, put it down there, and look forward to turning that into another episode. Listen, I've gone long. Thanks a lot for sticking with me all the way to the end. And as I've been saying, stay safe out there.